What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American Politics, back with a new video. And today we must talk about the great state of Nevada because some big news and data has come out of the great state of Nevada that is stunning. Now, before we get into that, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you did, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with friends, hit the little bell, and yes, let's try to hit 180 likes on this video. That'd be greatly appreciated. And yes. So, what's happening in Nevada exactly? Before we touch upon that, we should give a little bit of context of Nevada itself. So, Nevada is a fascinating state to look at politically. It has a good chunk of everything. Very rural white vote. Very Hispanic working class vote. Very Asian middle class vote. It's a good combination of everything put together in one state, which, by the way, it is a nice state. I recommend people go visit there. I wish the governor, though, can just go away, but that's probably going to happen in 2022. But essentially, Nevada used to be like a lean R state. From like 2000 to 2008, it was a lean R state. From 2008 to 2016, it was more so a lean Democrat, the likely Democrat state. But then in 2016, Trump almost won the state. He only lost it by 3. Compare that to losing it by 7 and 13 in 2008 and 2012. But then in 2020, even when the national ballot shifted like 2 points Democrat, Biden could only win the state by 2.5. And this was before the shitstorm that's happening currently. Now, I thought that Trump was going to win the state. I thought personally he was going to win. Some data was indicating it. Now, we can question some things that happened. Now, I'm not saying stuff happened purposefully. I didn't say that somebody purposely did something. What I am saying, though, is, that's not how you're supposed to conduct it. Conduct the election. That's not how you're supposed to do it. Again, not saying it happened purposefully. I'm just saying it was not clean. Not saying it's illegal. Just saying it was not a way to do it. It was third world stuff. But I'm not saying it purposely happened. Again, you get the point. I'm trying to make sure I don't get demonetized by YouTube. You get the point. And this was before everything we're about to touch upon happened. So, the biggest shift in the state really came from Clark County. Which, if you don't know, Clark County is where Las Vegas is. It says right there. If you can't read, I'm sorry about that. As Trump significantly improved in North Las Vegas, which we're about to get to in a second because this is important. North Las Vegas is essentially North Las Vegas, where all the Hispanics and where all the working minorities live. And it shifted like 20 points Republican, I believe, in some areas. I think 30 to 40 in some instances. It was a huge shift towards the right. As for the rest of Clark County, it was kind of, a wash. It was some places trended Democrat, some places trended Republican. Both North Las Vegas in particular, it shifted significantly Republican. And again, that's where the huge chunk of the Hispanic vote lives in. Now, with Clark County, there is a catch because this is something that used to be a factor. Keyword is used to be. The Reid machine. Now, if you don't know, Harry Reid was a senator of Nevada. And you don't know who Harry Reid is, I recommend you go look him up. He was a Senate Democrat leader for a couple of years. And you get the point. But essentially, he created a political machine in Las Vegas, in which could be the most absurd machine I've ever seen created by a Democrat. Essentially, there would be buses filled with people, especially union people, just bus to the polling places, just hundreds upon hundreds of buses, just tens of thousands of union and casino workers just flooding the polls. It's not illegal, it's just ridiculous, and I wish Republicans would do this, but they're too spineless. And essentially, that's how Democrats were able to get a foothold in Nevada. But also some help in Washoe County, because some changes to the county became more Democrat, made it harder for Republicans to win. But here's the thing, though. The Reid machine had its last hurrah in 2020. It wasn't as effective as it used to be. In fact, it may hurt Democrats. But it was just enough to really help them to win the state. And so many other things. But then something happened. In March and April of 2021, we had our first political nuke of the year. North Las Vegas mayor, who was a longtime Democrat, right, in one of the most bluest parts of the state, became a Republican. Yeah, North Las Vegas, the same one that still is like D plus 20 and 30, which made a significant shift towards Republicans in 2020, became a Republican in one of those bluest parts of the state. But this was after what really mattered. This is just the icing on top. Because in March of that year, this happened. The Democrat Socialists of America stunned the world and took over the state. The statewide party, not the state itself, thank God. And they control the statewide party. Because essentially the Bernie bro, progressive leftist, whatever you want to call her, she stunned everybody and won the chair election of the Nevada Democratic Party. Well, right after that, the entire statewide party resigned. You know, all of like the quote-unquote moderate Democrats, they said, F you, we're leaving. And a big chunk of them shifted towards the Republicans. They joined the Republicans en masse. And I'm not saying, you know, some of these are not like actually good Democrats, like good, conservative Democrats, I should say. Just saying that some of them were like those quote-unquote moderate Democrats. You know, like AKA, you know, the neoliberal types. But essentially, that alone, the huge shift towards Democrats or Republicans of politicians, of supporters, is a huge amount of the Democrat base. And essentially, with that happening, the Reid machine imploded because the people that ran the Reid machine told the Democrat Party to F off and they left the statewide party. Now, I still think they're working with the Democrats, some of them, but a chunk of them did join the Republicans. And you start doing some math and you realize the Reid machine is dead in Las Vegas. Now, how much does the Reid machine help the Democrats? I would say 50,000 votes they would gain from it. Well, minus 50,000 from Biden's total. Trump would win this state in 2020. So roughly 50,000 of Biden's votes from Clark County came from the Reid machine. Without that, Biden wouldn't have won the state. He would have lost by like 10,000. But here's the thing though. This was before this came out. Registered voters hate every statewide Democrat in the state of Nevada, which is Steve Sis. I call him Sis because he's just a coward. Cortez and Rosen, all of them are so below water that I don't think any of them will win re-election. I honestly don't believe it's going to happen. I think Cortez is done. I think Steve is done. Rosen, maybe. Depends what happens in 24, I believe he's up for re-election. But that's what happens. The Democratic Party has imploded in Nevada. All their politicians are unpopular, left the party, statewide party, or something even joined the Republicans. Even then, that's not the worst part. Democrats are despised by registered voters in the state. Worse than Republicans. Republicans, they're not popular. But compared to the Democrats, they're the most popular party in the state. That's pathetic. The Democrats have controlled this state for years. And their popularity has sunk so hard that I don't think they can recover from this. They realistically cannot recover from this because a statewide party is being ran by a bunch of incels, by college students. It's just a scam. Now, here's my proof for how incompetent these guys are. They're the same geniuses that forced this map to pass. This may be the most dummy-mandered map I have ever seen the Democrats ever put out. This was their old map. You know, there's one very Democrat district in North Las Vegas, in Vegas in general. But there's, you know, couple lean R to lean Democrat states, or aka toss-up districts. This is their map now. They've made every state in Nevada, all the Democrats' districts, I should say, sorry, all competitive. What is this? Why would you split up Vegas like this? It went from this to that. It's just stupidity beyond belief. And the funny part is, you look some math, all three of these districts are heavy Republican trending districts. They fucked this up hard. You really expect me to believe the Democrat Party there can recover from this? They can't. They've shot themselves for the next 10 years. But that's not all. Look at this. This is conducted by the best pollster in America, Richard Maris, or People's Pundit. Only 45% of Hispanics approve the job that Joe Biden is doing as president of the United States of America. 52% disapprove. And guess what? Most of Biden's approval with them is soft support. Some of them are just somewhat approve. Guys, Biden won like 55% of Hispanic vote at least. This is a demographic, if he's below 50%, let alone below 45%, he's screwed. The Democrats are screwed for the next 10 to 20 years. If this keeps up, the Hispanic vote is so important in the state of Nevada that this is a nationwide poll. If you correlate it to Nevada, this would be like Nevada's R+5 right now for 2024. Excuse me, I'm still used to 2020. But you get the point why I'm saying the Republicans have a significant chance of capturing this state as a next Florida, like a safe Republican state that shouldn't be safe Republican. I mean, the Democrat Party may just give up on Nevada in the future. That's what may happen. And this is why Republicans must embrace nationalism, America first, have a populist tone. Not this garbage of this, a socialist. Well, the socialism argument may work in Nevada now, but you get the point. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this quick video. If you did, smash the like down below, subscribe, share with a friend, hit the little bell, and yes. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you, and God bless.